Shall we make a video for English-speaking French learners using the French Eurovision Song Contest entry for Évidemment?
Évidemment.
Hi, I'm Alice. I'm Australian. I live in... Oh my gosh, I forgot I was wearing it. I live in France and it's just kind of like a uniform, especially in Paris. I was not expecting to make this video today. I went grocery shopping for the food that is now cooking that you can probably hear. Don't worry, it's in a pressure cooker, so hopefully it's all safe in the kitchen. But basically, Eurovision this year has really snuck up on me. And normally, I'm a huge fan, and this year, May came around, and I was like, oh my gosh, Eurovision must be soon. And I discovered that it's extremely soon. And I hadn't listened to any of the songs yet, and I was going through listening to the songs, and I found France's song, and I was just like, my goodness, what a bop. And in addition to being a bop, I thought, my goodness, what a great opportunity to teach some French to people who are interested in it. So that's what we're going to do today. First, I want to talk a little bit about my history with the Eurovision Song Contest. We've crossed paths a couple times. Basically, I used to be a huge fan of Eurovision. So much so that when in Australia they announced that they were doing a contest to select a song for Australia's entry for the 2019 Eurovision, I wrote a song and submitted it to the contest, and it was called Data Dust. It was about internet privacy, and it got picked up by Australian rock legend Ella Hooper from Killing Heidi, and she sang it in our equivalent of Melody Festival and the kind of national selection TV show. And we came 10th out of 10, which I'm pretty proud of. So that was one way in which I kind of was involved, I guess, in Eurovision stuff. Kate Miller-Heidke went on to perform that year. And then later that year, I was in the Australian national jury. I made up part of the team that kind of decided who Australia gave their 12 points to and their 10 points, etc. And I got to meet Christine Arnoux, which was a huge fangirl moment. But yeah, since then I've kind of gone in and out of Eurovision interest, and it's only really been this afternoon when I started listening on repeat to Zarra's Évidemment that I thought, oh my gosh, this is really bringing back some of my 2019 Eurovision fever. In honor of Zarra, I thought I would put on my one and only beret, which is, I think, maybe acrylic or wool or something, but it's really hot. Another reason I put it on is that my hair was really greasy and I used dry shampoo, and I feel like there's still probably the white marks on my hair, so I was like, best to cover those up. Zarra is Canadian, born to Moroccan parents, and she lives in France now, and she was internally selected by France TV to represent France in Eurovision this year. I'd never heard of her, but I love her voice. She's also the one who wrote the song, and it so happens that I love the song as well. So I think, without further ado, I think we can jump into the lyrics. I've had a look at some of the English translations of this song, and while they get the general gist, some of them don't quite do the literal meaning that I would understand from some of the lyrics. Maybe that's on me, we'll see. But in any case, if you are interested in French or Eurovision, stick around. One more thing is I recently put a video on my channel that was I'm going to take my videos in a bit of a new direction. I've got a new passion that I want to kind of document my improvement in this domain on this channel in English. And in case you're wondering, the passion is not Eurovision and it's not teaching French and English. I do teach French if you're interested. I'll leave a link in the description. And you can test from this video if you think I'm good enough to be your teacher. Here we go. So évidemment, which means évidemment, obviously. It's one of the first French words that I learned, and it's a very useful one. You see it a lot on TV as well, if someone's being sassy, but évidemment. Bonus points if you can add a b beforehand. It's kind of well. We start with 4 body parts. So we've got mon cœur, mes mains, mes yeux, mes reins. So mon cœur, quite common, quite to do with romance. Mes mains, mes yeux, mes reins. I've heard that translated as my hips. Hip is actually hanche, and I would translate mes reins as a bit more like my lower back region. Let me know if you are a French speaker and I haven't got that right. But in any case, I find that like you like hear the start of the song and you're like, whoa, okay. We're not just talking about hearts and hands and romance, we're talking about guttural romance. So I really like that. And she goes on to say, plus rien ne m'appartient. Nothing belongs to me anymore. So that plus makes all the difference, because if we say rien ne m'appartient, nothing belongs to me. But with the ne plus, it becomes nothing belongs to me anymore. Ne plus. Je me fais du mal pour faire du bien. So I harm myself in order to kind of please, to do good stuff. I imagine for like the person she's speaking to in the song. I hurt myself in order to kind of please you or to do like good things, faire du bien. We can say, ça fait du bien if we like eat a nice meal or have a good sleep or something. Ça fait du bien. But for her, you know, she's hurting herself in order to do that for someone, so it doesn't sound very sustainable. And then j'oublie comme si ce n'était rien. And I forget about it as if it was nothing. And why I want to talk about this bit in particular is because of the comme si, as if, literally, and the fact that it's always followed by the imperfect tense. If you're not interested in grammar, you should be, because grammar's fun. But if you are, basically, comme si is always followed by the imparfait, the imperfect. And it's, I think, the same in English. So if I say something like, if I say, je parle comme si j'étais une reine, I speak as if I were a queen. I don't know if that's true. Stop. I don't say je parle comme si je suis une reine, because it just doesn't make sense. And we say the same in English, like I speak as if I am a queen. We don't kind of really say I speak as if I were a queen, as if I was. So the thing to remember from that, comme si is always followed by the imparfait. Dans mon jardin d'enfer poussent des fleurs. In my hell garden, there are flowers growing. Oof. Que j'arrose de mes rêves, de mes pleurs. That I'm watering with my dreams and my tears. Arroser is a really useful verb. We do it to plants. You can imagine a little watering can. J'arrose mes plantes. But you can also use it in a figurative sense, like talking about an evening. So I can say, c'était une soirée bien arrosée. Bien arrosée. A very well-watered evening, which, as you might imagine, means that everyone got very drunk. Une soirée bien arrosée. And maybe for la Zarra, it will be after Eurovision, because I know they work them very hard. There are like so many rehearsals, the tech rehearsals, everything. You've got to like sing at full pelt so they can get the levels. You've got to like hit all your angles so they can perfect the camera angles. I've seen Ella Hooper do it, so I know what I'm talking about. On a beau être sur le toit du monde. On a beau être sur le toit du monde. We may well be at the top of the world, or literally the roof of the world. On ne peut toucher le ciel du doigt. We still can't touch the sky with a finger. Yes, I agree, it works a lot better in French. I want to talk about this because we have one of my favorite expressions, avoir beau, which you can use to be like, even though. We might be this, but still this. It's good for making like comparisons. And it took me ages to like understand it in my head. But basically, the example that has been the most useful to me to remember how to use it is to think to yourself, j'ai beau, j'ai is conjugated, avoir, j'ai beau, and then plus infinitive, avoir in this case, but it could be être, or it could be pouvoir, or whatever you like. J'ai beau avoir 29 ans, j'habite encore avec mes parents. Voilà, c'est pas le cas, c'est pas vrai, mais c'est utile comme exemple. Even though I'm 29, I still live with my parents. So there you go, avoir beau. I encourage you to use it if you're learning French. It's like, makes you sound really sophisticated. J'ai beau être végétarienne, j'adore le poulet. Even though I'm vegetarian, I love chicken. Thankfully I'm not vegetarian, because that would be maybe a little bit of a contradictory statement. Évidemment, our chorus, évidemment. Toutes toutes ces belles promesses que j'entends, all these beautiful promises I hear, ce n'est que du vent, it's just wind. Not literally just wind. To explain this, I'll give you an example of when I send a text message to a French friend and they take a while to reply. They might say in their response, instead of the literal désolé pour la réponse tardive, which is a little bit formal, they might say désolé pour le vent, sorry for the wind, which obviously isn't like sorry for the actual wind or the farts or anything like that. It's more just like sorry for the absence of stuff. So if we're saying ce n'est que du vent, it's only wind, it's more like it's only nothingness. It's stuff without substance. It's like, all these beautiful promises, in the end, they just were as transparent as the wind. And there's also a lovely ne que here, which literally just means just. And it's one of the first things I learned as well, because someone taught me to say, je ne suis qu'une débutante. Or maybe it was je ne suis que débutante. Je ne me rappelle plus. But it means I'm just a beginner. Je ne suis qu'une débutante. Or I could say, je ne suis qu'australienne. Or je ne regarde que le foot. J'ai beau regarder la télé, je ne regarde que le foot. So that's another one that if you have an English-speaking brain, it can take a while to like drill that in there, but I promise you it goes in eventually and it's really useful. Évidemment, car après le beau temps vient la pluie. Very optimistic. After the nice weather, le beau temps, as in the weather, not le temps, but it's spelled the same and pronounced the same, so good luck with that. Après le beau temps, the nice weather, comes la pluie, the rain. And I've seen this translated as after the calm comes the storm, and I'm not sure if like it is that expression like le beau temps avant la pluie. I haven't heard that before, but maybe. But in any case, it's after nice weather comes the rain, and that's what we always forget. C'est ce qu'on oublie. C'est ce qu'on oublie. Did she say anything else? No. C'est ce qu'on oublie. C'est ce que on oublie. All right, let's get into verse 2 territory, I believe. C'est toujours trop beau pour être vrai. Hear that all the time. Trop beau pour être vrai. Too good to be true. Trop beau pour être vrai. But here's a wonderful subversion that she does, which I love. Mais ce n'est jamais trop laid pour être faux. Oh, j'adore. It's never too ugly to be false, or never too ugly to not be real. Whew, chills. Évidemment, elle ne sera plus jamais la même, cette fille d'avant. I've seen this translated as, I will never be the girl I once was, or I'll never be the same as the girl I used to be. Which, I guess it does mean that, but it's in third person. Elle, she. She, what did she say? She will never be the same. Again, she will no longer be the same. We've got that ne plus again. Elle ne sera plus jamais la même. Cette fille d'avant, she will never be the same, that girl from before. And I love that because she's like further separating herself from the person that she used to be by talking about her in third person. Je vends demain, je rachète hier. I sell tomorrow in order, I sell tomorrow, I buy back yesterday, but I kind of hear it as like, I would be willing to sell tomorrow in order to be able to buy back yesterday, but I can't. And here we have, so acheter is to buy, and if we add our little R on the top, and it means to buy back or buy again. And that happens with quite a lot of verbs. One of the most famous ones would be with the verb voir, to see, and revoir, to see again. So when we say au revoir, until the next time we see each other. Le temps est assassin. Assassin, I think it's spelled exactly the same. I love that. Who is time assassinating? We will never know. In any case, we are talking about le temps, the time here, as opposed to le temps. But that's one of the fun things in French, is that so many words sound exactly the same. And if you want, you can hear double meanings. You know, we've had weather imagery before. Maybe she indeed is intending a double meaning, that the pluie, which comes after the beau temps, is also an assassin. Who am I to say? Je ne suis qu'une Australienne. Je cherche l'amour, je ne trouve rien. Je ne trouve rien. I really like how she's not really dropping her ends as we often do à l'oral, because it would be perfectly acceptable to say je trouve rien, je trouve rien. Ah, je trouve rien. Ah, j'arrive plus. J'arrive pas. Voilà, un autre exemple. Je n'arrive pas becomes j'arrive pas. Je trouve rien. But here she's sneaking them in. In the printed lyrics, they have little apostrophes and stuff. But there you go. Je trouve rien. Je ne trouve rien, in her words. So I look for love. I don't find anything. Comme dans mon sac à main. I find this to be a bit of a standout lyric. It's kind of cute. I'm looking for love. I don't find anything like in my handbag. But I've seen that translated as like a lost key, you know, when I don't think that's really what she's saying. She's just evoking the image of like, where's my whatever it is that I'm looking for. Dans ma tête, c'est pas... we've dropped the N. Dans ma tête, c'est pas tant évident, which is literally ce n'est pas tant évident. It's not super easy. I just realized the temps here is it's not as easy. And she's saying like, in my head, it's not as easy as looking for something in my handbag. And that's something as well, because we would hear easy as facile. We often translate easy as facile. But I hear more commonly if someone's like wanting to sympathize with you and be like, oh, it's not easy, hey. Or someone's wanting to be like, oh, life sucks, it's not easy. They'll often say, c'est pas évident. It's not evident. It's not simple to do, you know? Yeah, if next time you want to say, j'apprends le français, ce n'est pas facile, you could try switching it up with j'apprends le français, ce n'est pas évident. C'est pas évident. Ce n'est pas évident. You could put your little S there with the liaison if you want. The more I hear c'est pas évident, the more I think, yeah, most people don't use S. Also, Toby's vacuuming. I hope it's not too noisy. Je cherche la vérité tout en l'évitant. I love that. I'm looking for the truth all the while avoiding it. Tout en is a beautifully succinct way to be like, I do this and all the while I'm doing something else. J'apprends le français tout en m'amusant. I'm learning French and just all the while I'm having fun. I don't know, maybe I'm not using this correctly, but I find it's used very beautifully and succinctly here. The le en l'évitant obviously refers to the subject, which is la vérité. On a beau être sur... Ah oui On a beau être sur le toit du monde, j'adore cette expression. We may well be on the top of the world, on the roof of the world, still can't touch the sky with a finger. Ain't that the truth? And then there's another chorus, we've already done that. Car moi je chante, because me, I sing. Car is very useful to say instead of parce que, if you want to switch it up. Ma vie, la vôtre, et un peu de romance. My life, la vôtre, your life, et un peu de romance, a little bit of romance. Notice that there's de, because un peu is a quantity. And whenever we have a quantity, we don't say des or de la or du, we say de. So, un peu de romance, un peu de... Qu'est-ce qu'il y a d'autre? Un peu de riz. How much rice would you want? Je veux juste un peu de riz. I just hear it often, you know, we say, beaucoup de ou beaucoup... ouais, il y avait beaucoup de personnes. Non. Beaucoup de personnes. And also, if the quantity is zero, zero is still a quantity. So, il n'y avait pas de riz sur mon assiette. I feel like I should hurry it up now because Toby's going to come and vacuum my room. How lucky am I? If you never watch my videos, Toby is my husband. He's also Australian. Je suis nue devant vous. Not literally. I've watched the video clip. She's not. Je suis nue. I'm naked before you. You can see it's accordé, nu, with an E on the end because she is a woman. Je suis nue devant vous. Donnez-moi donc, so give me thus, une chance. Love that word. Une chance. Give me thus a chance. So give me a chance. De vous à moi, de moi à vous, from me to you, from you to me. ai-je réussi à chanter la grande France? So that whole stanza to me feels kind of separate from the song. And if she was talking to a lover, I feel like she would have done a tutoiement. So she would have said, ma vie, la tienne, yours, but in the more informal tu, toi. Un peu de romance. Je suis nue devant toi, mon ex, ou who knows. So donne-moi une chance. But here I feel like I understand at the end, she's saying, have I succeeded? Ai-je réussi à chanter la grande France? And maybe here she's referring to the fact that she's born in Canada, her parents are Moroccan, and maybe she feels a certain pressure to like represent France in a way that French people will kind of get on board with her. So maybe here with the vous, she's addressing France, or she's addressing, you know, all of Europe. That's my theory. C'est toujours trop beau pour être vrai, mais ce n'est jamais trop laid pour être faux. J'adore, comme vous le savez. Évidemment, elle ne sera plus jamais la même, cette fille d'avant. Évidemment. Okay, so I hope that you have learned something that you might not have known about French from this video. I think Toby's going to come in and do the vacuuming now, so I'm going to take off this beret and I'm going to say, see you later.